Myth here, back with another video. So this is the DK build I've been teasing for the past couple of days, so let's get right into it. But before I get into it, make sure you guys subscribe and like the video, so that way I know that you guys enjoy these and it keeps me making more crazy builds like this and theory crafting. Alright, so character sheet, let's go and buff up. 33k spell, 30k physical on the back bar, 30k spell, and 27k physical. We got 6k weapon damage, 6k pen, 29k max mag, 30k health, 21k stam. We went 54 into mag, 10 into health, running the lover. Now your penetration should be higher. I don't have 2 maces, so that's the reason why it's a little low, but 6k is better than nothing. We are running the Bewitched Sugar Skulls for the max stats. Obviously with the new rework, the DK doesn't really need to run sustained food, so the max stats we really can benefit from. And we run the Lover. And we are Breton, by the way, so I'll just go and cover that real quick. So the reason why I run Breton, you get 2000 max mag, and you get 2300 spell resistance. And this effect is doubled if you're afflicted with burning, chilled, or concussed. So when you're fighting a DK, for the most part, you're going to have 4,600 extra spell resistance at like almost 100% uptime, and even maybe a Sork with concussed. So, and it's also going to give us 130 mag recovery. And then another big one is all of our Magicka abilities are reduced by 7. So this is actually pretty huge. Very similar to Imperial, but definitely more mag based, so this is really good. Alright, skills. I'm going to kind of run over these really quickly because I have a couple of setups, so just bear with me. We have Heart of Flame, Fleet Step Wings, Venomous Knife. Now this is to proc our off balance. The heavy attack is a little janky, so I had to go and check out a scribe skill, so this is really good actually, especially with the class mastery. For each enemy within 8 meters up to 6, we're going to get 50 weapon and spell damage and reduce our damage taken by 2% plus 1% per enemy for 5 seconds. And it's going to set them off balance. It's going to proc our Flame Lash, which is absolutely insane because we're going to get a ton of weapon and spell damage depending on if we're getting 50 regardless, but if there's more people in a group, which I usually try to target a group of people in like BGs, or if you're 1vxing, you're going to get a ton of weapon and spell damage, and you're going to get a ton of tankiness from all this damage reduction while you're flame lashing, which you're getting healed from, and it's doing a ton of damage, and that damage is AoE. So this is actually really nice. It's a really good combo. And then we have obviously Flame Lash and our Major Breach, got the Dragon Breath. We are running Thriving Chaos, and I'll get a little bit into this later, but you can run Corrosive, but you don't really need to in this build. And I'll show you why in a minute. We are running this ult for a specific reason. Temporal Guard, Coag, Shatter and Spike, Mantle, Resolving Vigor, Igneous Weapons, and Incinerate. Now you can kind of run these how you want. It's up to you. If you're in a 1v1, I would take off Fleet Step Wings and put on Hearth and Home. Just a personal preference, you know. You're going to get that minor Fortitude and that minor Heroism, so it's pretty nice. And you're going to get a major protection while you're in it, or reduce your damage taken by 10%. Who doesn't want that? So it's pretty good. And actually the snare is pretty annoying. I hate fighting other DKs that use this, so I totally understand it, but this is like a must in 1v1s. It's pretty good. Alright, so I think that's it for the skills. Champion points. Now we got Cleanse and Revival, Master at Arms, Biting Aura, and Ironclad. Now you can switch these up a little bit if you want. If you want another defensive CP, you can put this in. Like I said, this is for BGs and like open world. It's not bad for 1v1, but you would want to stun in 1v1. So this setup particularly that I have isn't for 1v1s. Not saying you couldn't use it in 1v1, but you obviously want fossilized and stuff like that. So this is for BGs and kind of like 1vxing open world. Alright, get to the red tree. Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, and Balanced Vitality. Now, I took off Survival Instincts by mistake. Yeah, so you want Survival Instincts. You can run this, but if you're running this, then you don't need to put on the other skill, because every time you get feared, you're going to get this for... you're going to get the major protection for 3 seconds, so... I kind of took that off because I usually run Hearth and Home if I'm doing a 1v1 or something like that, so... And if you want the extra health, which I put into, you can run this, or if you want extra armor, you can run this. It'll make you a little bit more tanky. I prefer the extra health because it gets me above 30k, so that's what I went with. And now for the gear, what you guys have been waiting for, Azure Blight. Now, people are thinking, oh, this set, you know, it's a very old set, and I think people are sleeping on it. This set gives you a ton of weapon and spell damage, and the dot that it does, or that it gives, or puts on the target, does an insane amount of damage. So, oh, let me swap my front bar. So dealing damage over time applies a stack of Blight Seed to the target for 5 seconds, and at 20 stacks, the Blight Seed explodes for 3,261 damage to the target and nearby enemies. Now that sounds like, alright, that's 3,200, that's not good at all, but what you're missing is down here. The damage scales off your weapon and spell damage and can occur every 1 second. So this will do damage every 1 second, even if it's not at 20 stacks. Now, I don't know about the increasing 150% per additional monster, because that's obviously for PvE. Now, people are saying that this set might be bugged or something like that. I personally, through using this set, I have never seen it tick for a crazy amount of like burst damage. But what I have seen it do, especially in a 1v1 or even in a group setting like BGs or like 1vxing, is that it ticks every 1 second, or at least every other second, and it does a ton of damage because it scales off your weapon and spell damage. So like there's times where I'm fighting somebody and I gotta turn around to heal or kite or something, and they just end up dying because this is still ticking on them, like along with my other dots and stuff like that. So it's really good, and it's definitely not overpowered, because also too, if you see at the bottom, enemies can only have 1 Blight Seed at a time and require 20 more stacks per group member wearing this set. So if everybody in your BG is wearing it, you won't get that crazy explosion, but I think it will still do decent amount of damage. Like I said, I don't know if many people are running this. I don't think they are, but this does insane pressure. So this is the secret busted DK set that people should be running, people are sleeping on. Really good. Like I said, you want 2 maces here, but I don't have them because I haven't done that dungeon in so long. I just happen to have 2 axes, which was kind of cool. Nerdhone front hand. We went with the weapon and spell damage because we have the poison knife, so we don't need that. That can proc poison on them and maybe get a minor defile or something. So weapon and spell damage enchant. Absorb stamina for sundered and sharpened offhand. Back bar, rallying cry. This is a staple set. Everybody knows this. Got defending on it for extra tankiness, and poisons. You could run whatever you want. I'm trying to get rid of these crown lethal poisons. I never use them, so I figured I might as well just keep them on there until I run out. Now the monster set we're running, we're not going with the normal Bloodspawn or Balorg. We're going with Marsalok. We're kind of doubling down on that proc AoE damage. So we're going to pair it with the Azure Blight. That's going to do AoE damage, and this already does insane damage, so it's going to deal when you do heavy attack, it's going to deal damage in a cone, dealing 7,200 disease damage over 4 seconds, which it's done like 18k damage in a 1v1. So that 7k, don't be fooled by that 7k. It can do a lot more damage because it does 10% for each negative effect on enemies up to a maximum of 300%. So and it scales off your weapon and spell damage. So don't sleep on this. This is actually a really good monster, especially for damage, and it's definitely more sneaky than like a battle orc where they can, you know, see your hands lighten up and stuff like that. They know that, hey, you just popped your ult, you just got all that damage and stuff like that. So definitely a more sneaky set to use, and you can kind of line them up. One piece trainee, everything should be reinforced. Try stat enchant. Besides the or not everything should be reinforced. The chest should be reinforced. Everything should be impen. I still have a waist well fitted. I don't really notice the difference. It's not making or breaking the build. If you want to copy the well fitted, one well fitted won't hurt you. Probably a nice little addition, but impen on everything, and reinforced chest and well fitted waist, I guess, if you want. We are running 2 heavy and 4 medium, 1 light. For jewelry, we have infused, 2 infused weapon and spell damage, and we are running the Mark and Ring of Majesty, so it's going to give us an extra 200 weapon and spell damage and 2,300 armor, a little bit of tankiness, because we are running mostly damage on this build, so we got to get some tankiness somewhere. And Bloodthirsty. So I've been testing out Bloodthirsty because I kind of want to see if it's good or not. I kind of can't tell. I haven't switched this to infused, so I don't know. Obviously, it's not going to show up in my my stat pool, but the way I see this is, if you're fighting somebody, they're not going to be over 90% health for the majority of the fight. So you're going to have a really good uptime on this, and you can get up to 350 weapon and spell damage. So that's pretty nice. So I've been kind of just testing the one Bloodthirsty, but if I were you, I guess, I mean, you could just go all infused weapon and spell damage. We got rid of the flame glyph. You don't really need it, especially being a Breton. You already get an extra 2,300 resistance for being burned, chilled, or concussed. So fighting a DK, you'll have that 4,600 extra resistance anyways. So you do not need to run the flame glyph. You can if you want. It's not going to hurt you. You'll just have less damage. It might make you a little bit more tanky versus DKs, but yeah. So that's the first setup. I'm going to go ahead and switch my stuff around, and I'll get into the second setup. Now we're going to get into the second setup. Now it's the same gear, so I'm not going to go over the gear. It's just kind of changing the skills around. So for a BG or open world, this is what I like to run on my front bar. So you can run Molten Whip, and the reason why I changed to Molten Whip sometimes is because you can't always get that Flame Lash off, and sometimes like trying to set it up can just leave you in a worse position of, trying to hit even with the new scribe skill, trying to hit it and then, setting it up, it can still take some time. So at least with the Molten Whip, you're using all of your Dragonknight abilities. Even if you're popping this over and over again, you're hitting any Dragonknight ability. Not that. You're gaining that Molten Whip, obviously in combat. So, and you can use it more often. So you can set it up. You can also take off the wings and put Fossilize there in a 1v1 situation. You build up your Molten Whip. You pepper them down. Like I said, this build does a lot of dot damage, so you kind of just pepper them down a little bit, and you can Molten Whip, and you can stun them into a Molten Whip, and it's going to do a ton of damage. And we are running Corrosive on the front bar, so like I said, you just pair that together, you're going to be hitting like a Mack truck. People hate on Corrosive, but I mean, it is what it is. It's a good ult. Some people think they're too good to use it or whatever. I've been killed by plenty of good players that use Corrosive, so it doesn't matter, man. Just it's in the game, just use it. I don't think you're bad if you do use it. It's in the game. You can even take flight if you want to get that extra 10% damage after. That's up to you. That's a great option too. You could Like I said, build up your stacks on your Molten Whip, do some damage, kind of pepper them down, stun them into a Molten Whip, into a leap. That'd be a pretty deadly combo. You know, this class is all about, you know, building up your combo and kind of getting it right, whatever feels good for you. So that's why I'm kind of trying to give you guys a little bit of variety, depending on, you know, your play style. Obviously, you just got to use what skills work for you. And we have Hearth and Home on the back bar. Obviously, I talked about it a little bit in the first part, but this is really good for 1v1s, and even in BGs, it's pretty good. So this is my second setup that I run. This is a setup that I actually mainly run. That setup I showed you previously, that was a new setup I was trying around and having fun. But like I said, yeah, especially with this build, I've been trying to just use the Molten Whip just because I feel like I'm waiting too long to try to set up for a Flame Lash, and it's just taken away from me doing damage. So I'd rather have the Molten Whip. You know, I already have my 3 stacks. I don't have to wait. I just hit it, and then, you know, I hit my other skills. I have my 3 stacks again. I hit it again. So yeah, this is the second setup. I do have one more, so I'll just go ahead and get to that real quick. Is mainly just a dot type of setup build. Like I said, the build is the same, just the skills. So we have the Heart of Flame because you need it, and we are running the Searing Claw. Now you could run the other morph if you want more healing, but this does more damage, and especially with our set that we are running, applying damage over time effects is going to ramp up that damage on it and build the stacks up quicker. So this is really good. Incinerate, Molten Whip, you could use Flame Lash if you want, Dragon Breath, Leap. Back bar, we have our Fleet Step Wings, Igneous Weapons, Resolving Vigor, Shatter Spike Mantle, Coag, Temporal Guard. The ultimate, you can run Corrosive, you can run Dawnbreaker, you can run Thriving Chaos, whichever one you want. It's mainly just the different type of style, so this one's more of a dot type of style build. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. You know, make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, so you guys don't miss more content, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
The point is ours! We've taken the point!
Standing. We have secured the point. We've captured the point!
The point!
Outstanding! We have secured the point! They took the point!
Capture the point!
Point is ours!
Goes on your point!
We cannot be stopped!
The point is theirs! Capture the point! We've taken the point! Capture the point! We've taken the point! We captured the point!
They've captured the point!
Point won't capture itself.